This is a State of the Union address, and it is convincingly Jover. I realize I'm coming to you from something that looks like one of those generic green screen backgrounds that you get in a Zoom meeting in 2020. But this is my actual hotel room. We are on the road again. I've managed to make it look a little less like a hostage video and a little more like something is sane. The audio setup is still kind of borked, so you're going to have to work with me on that. In my defense, it's still functioning better than the U.S. national team, so we've got that going for us. I know, I'm on the record, right? I am on the record saying that the United States is the third best team in Copa America. I don't necessarily believe I was wrong in that estimate, but something has happened that might, in the long term, and this is me just huffing on industrial levels, harmful levels of copium. I mean, this is, long-term brain damage types levels of copium here. This, in the long term, could actually help the U.S. national team, but right now, completely inexcusable. If for some reason you don't know, the U.S. lost to Panama in Copa America. So first match, the United States wins against Bolivia. Second match, loses 2-1 against Panama. This loss means essentially that as long as Bolivia doesn't take a point off Panama, like if Panama beats Bolivia, the United States has to win against Uruguay just to get to the knockouts in a home Copa America, which is embarrassing. It's completely and utterly embarrassing. And I think anybody, anywhere in the U.S. Federation, anywhere supporting the U.S. national team that thinks this is anything other than embarrassing and completely unacceptable has lost the plot to such an extent that they should be lobotomized. Not actually, but that's how I feel right now. And it feels like a justification because, Panama sucks, right? Like, I will root for Panama. Right, in most contexts, they make the World Cup, boom, that's exciting. They're playing against Bolivia. I'm rooting for Panama, right? Like I'm not a Panama hater. I'm generally rooting for success in CONCACAF in the first place. I think that the better CONCACAF does in other places, the more that's going to help these types of players get recognition. But when you line up the 11 players on the United States against the 11 players on Panama, it is not a contest. Every single player starting this match on the field for the United States has major European League experience. Nobody on Panama does. And it's not like they're playing in the Brazilian League, right? And it's not like they're playing in the Argentine League. It's not like they're playing in whatever league outside of Europe you would consider would provide the sort of experience necessary in order to be able to compete against people that have major league experience in Europe. Panama doesn't have any of that. The United States rolls up in a match that is a home tournament, right? I realize it's not a home World Cup, so the United States doesn't necessarily care as much because it takes, this is something that I have to do here. It takes a while to be able to explain what Copa America is to somebody that doesn't really follow soccer in the first place, but still a home tournament that you've been preparing for years, that everybody in the U.S. Federation has been pointing at for years, saying this is the litmus test. This is the big, we got to advance U.S. soccer and what. Damn it. 2016 with Kyle Beckerman playing central defensive midfield, we made the semifinals of this tournament. Right? Copa America is not as hard as people think that it is. Right? Because there are a couple of good teams every time, and they wax and wane. Right? You've got Brazil, Argentina, and then maybe a Colombia, maybe an Ecuador. Right? But maybe an Uruguay. Right? Uruguay certainly looked good against Bolivia, so I'm not going to take anything away from them. Those teams got to... But the quarterfinals... Paraguay makes the quarterfinals. Venezuela makes the quarterfinals. Canada makes the quarterfinals. Those are teams that are looking like they're all going to make the quarterfinals this time, except for Paraguay. But I remember watching a Copa America knockout with Paraguay. The Copa America, really, every team that doesn't make the quarterfinals feels like an idiot. And if you do make the quarterfinals, you feel like you've actually made it to the start of the tournament. And the United States gets a gift. A group with Panama and Bolivia. Bolivia being the worst team in South America. They just are. If you watch them play at this Copa America, you will not come away with any other possible conclusion than Bolivia is the worst team in South America. They might be losing to Guyana and Suriname soon. They look terrible. And then Panama, who, in my opinion, is the worst CONCACAF team at this tournament. There are 5 of them, right? And Jamaica and Costa Rica are in the conversation, but going into the tournament, as somebody that watches a lot of CONCACAF, I would have said it was Panama. I would have said Panama was the worst team at this tournament. Them and Bolivia basically having a race to the bottom. So you get that group, and now you put yourself in a position where you don't have the ability to get out of that group, where it is almost out of your hands, where you have to beat a top 15 team in the world, top 20 team in the world in Uruguay in order to even get to the knockouts. Well, now we're fighting an uphill battle. right? And it is the 11th hour for Greg Berhalter. And people are going to be, well, why haven't you already talked about the way that it happened? Look, those are reasons. Those aren't excuses. Okay, because of course, the United States got an 18th minute red card. It did. The U.S. got an 18th minute red card. It was a stupid play from Timothy Weah. I'll show it to you right now, just in case you didn't see it. Here it is. I mean, look, that's a red card. You can't do that. This is some football manager level nonsense, right? You're in this huge match, and all of a sudden you got some guy who's never had issues with discipline on the field before punching somebody in the back of the head, or at least giving him a little love tap in the back of the head. I mean, it's completely and utterly inexcusable. Makes absolutely no sense why he would do that. But this is the second time, if you follow the U.S. national team in the last 6 months, that somebody's gotten a stupid, completely meaningless red card. Serginho Dest, pre-ACL tear, didn't tear his ACL. He got a red card at Trinidad and Tobago in Copa America qualifying. I mean, we lost at Trinidad and Tobago after dominating them at home, fortunately, so on the aggregate we were fine. But that was an important match. You get a red card, and then we have another idiot getting another stupid red card. Now, Timothy Weah posted a long apology letter, but look, this isn't also only Tim's fault. He's made the worst mistake of his professional career right here, getting sent off in the 18th minute. But there was the other thing people are going to point out is, well, the fouls were 19-4 in favor of Panama. They injured Matt Turner, our goalkeeper, by just missiling into him, and that wasn't even given as a yellow card. It was a travesty of a game. I mean, like an absolute travesty of a game officiating-wise. But here's the thing. Those are reasons, not excuses, because you know that's what's going to happen. Because if you're Panama, if you're Panamanian, that's the only way you're going to win this game. The only way. Which means if you are from the United States and you're in that locker room, you're coming into this game, you have to know. You have to know that that's the way they're going to play. Because this is CONCACAF, baby. I know it's Copa America, but this is a CONCACAF matchup. Right? And CONCACAF is very good. It's just getting real messy. And that's what Panama did. That is exactly what Panama did in this game, and you have to be ready for it. You have to have all of the players prepared. Look, they're going to try and get under your skin. You know why? Because you're better than them, right? They're going to be overly physical, right? And when they are overly physical, right, make sure that the ref sees it. Make sure that the ref takes care of it. Don't let yourself get pushed around, but don't retaliate. By any means necessary, you cannot, because it's the only thing that's going to give Panama a chance in this game. And even after that red card, the United States took the lead. We got that red card. The U.S. scored 6 minutes later. Great goal by Folarin Balogun. Wonderful goal. Panama scores 3 minutes later. Where is the stick-to-itiveness on that? I mean, and then the United States playing 10 against 11. If we're being entirely honest, if Vegas was setting a betting line, the U.S. would still be the favorite to win the game if it could only use 10 players and Panama could use 11. Right? We're talking about a team that's starting people in the Azerbaijan League. Right? Panama is not the team that should be able to do this. Right? And once the United States goes down to 10 men, they set up the Gareth Southgate tactic. They're afraid of going out trying to play the game, even at 1-1. And I'm like, look, if you draw this game, it's still not great. Go out and try and beat Panama. Lose guns blazing. Don't park it up and then give up an 83rd minute goal. See, a lot of things had to go right for Panama to be able to win this game against the United States. Obviously, a lot of things have to go right for Panama to be able to beat the United States the way those two teams are set up right now. But who gives a shit? Seriously. If we don't get out of a group with Panama and Bolivia at a home Copa America, Greg Berhalter shouldn't even be allowed on the plane. And that's not just because I'm a Greg Berhalter hater. That's not just because everybody has been hating on this decision. The only reason to stick with Greg Berhalter after this tournament would be an unnecessary amount of stubbornness and that you don't want to have the fans be able to tell you what to do. But you know what? The fans aren't necessarily always wrong. When everybody is sitting on one side screaming, we don't like Greg Berhalter, we think this team can be better than this, Greg Berhalter does not have any sort of proven track record as a coach at all. How did you hire him in the first place? Probably because his older brother was in the hiring committee. All of that stuff seems like relevant criticism, right? And then when he leaves the team after the World Cup and then is brought back after another coaching search to be the coach again and then delivers this, Greg Berhalter has not proven to me in ounce that he can beat a single team outside of CONCACAF, and now he's losing to teams from inside CONCACAF. All right? And he's built his entire reputation on abusing a Mexico team that just got beat by Venezuela. Okay, the only CONCACAF teams that are in position to make the next round right now are Canada and Panama and Costa Rica. That's not the United States or Mexico. The United States has so much money invested in this, right? The United States has the resources, it has the talent, and as such, as Taylor Twellman said when the U.S. missed the World Cup in 2018, this can't happen. It should be impossible for this to happen. And if it does happen and the United States misses the knockouts of Copa America because it gets eliminated by Panama, fire everyone. That's fine. We got 2 years to build this whole thing up again, but anything would be better than sustaining a below expected status quo with Greg Berhalter for the rest of the time. Right? I mean, there's nothing that would inspire me about the U.S. going to the World Cup with Greg Berhalter being the coach. And it shouldn't inspire anybody else either, because he has now not proven in multiple major tournaments that he can't get the job done, right? And that the only thing he can do is squeak his way by Jamaica and then beat Mexico in the Nations League. But you know what? This is a historically bad Mexico team, and we shouldn't be afraid of pointing that out when talking about the fact that the U.S. is just chronically underachieving. So like I was saying, this could, in the long term, actually be something good for the United States national team. That Greg Berhalter ends up getting himself fired because of the poor performance of the team. But right now it sucks because this U.S. team is just better than this, and it found a way to lose. Found a way to lose. Sure, there were fouls. Sure, there was an early red card. But this is a game this is the one that couldn't fail. And it failed. Neville was right.